Thanks to everyone for coming this afternoon. I'm Rick Cameron out of the Marketing Communications Office, and most of you know also do the radio broadcast for Mercer Men's Basketball, but we are indeed a pleasure today, as you know, in past years. At our tip-off luncheon at Carrabba's, it's been Bob and Janell as our keynote speakers, and as much as they are wonderful speakers and wonderful representation of college basketball, we thought we might raise the bar just a little bit this year, and I think all of you will agree with Dick Vitale here, the voice of college basketball. We have raised the bar about as high as we can possibly raise it. Briefly, Coach Jones is going to talk just for a couple of moments about her program and her being here today, and then Coach Hoffman will, and Coach Hoffman will then introduce Dick Vitale. So, Janell, if you'll get us started, please.
First, I want to say what an honor to kick off our basketball season this year with Coach Vitale. What a wonderful experience for us and our players. I'd like to, first of all, say that this is going to be an exciting year for our fans. We're going to have 11 games with doubleheaders with our men. We have an exciting year coming up. We're building off of last year's season where we had this second biggest turnaround in the NCAA history. We have 6 brand new freshmen coming in who are eager and are going to be seeing a lot of playing time out on the floor. We have 4 Georgia kids coming in and brings one of our home from Rutland, Georgia. She's coming in, Kendra Grant. We have returning leadership in Courtney Ford and LaToya Jackson. Courtney Ford, known for all of her hustle play and playing with passion and the most desirable competitive spirit that I've seen. And then LaToya with her sharp shooting ability and uncanny ability to score. So with that, we have a very hard but difficult schedule that we're going to come face. We have University of Oklahoma right off the bat, then Oklahoma State and Texas Tech. But we also have home game with Georgia Southern. We also will be playing Furman and Winthrop, and we look forward to our conference play. I think it's open field for anyone, can be anyone on any given night. That's what makes the games exciting for the fans. And we hope that each one of you here will come and be a part of Mercer Bear basketball. It's going to be a great year. We hope to be cutting down the nets in March along with the men's program. Thank you.
Thank you, Janell. Of course, as we've talked about, I think there's more anticipation of Mercer basketball than there's been. I know in the past 12 years that I've been here with this wonderful facility, with the results both of these coaches have obtained last year with the conference tournament here this year, and now what a great way to kick off the season with Mr. Vitale here today. But next up for a few moments, head coach Bob Hoffman.
Thank you guys for coming out, and ladies. Today we're excited about the basketball season. My palms are sweaty, ready to be in the walk through the gym, and there was tables out there, so we weren't able to practice today in there, but we got in the intramural gym earlier today. But we start Friday for earnest, getting after it, and we can't wait till that happens. Our seniors have done a great job of leading us. We got 5 seniors, and I've been a head coach for over 20 years, and I've never had a group of guys that have led like these young men have ever since we lost last spring to Belmont at the buzzer in the conference tournament. And I think they tasted a little bit of what they tasted a little bit of what they wanted, and now they've worked hard to get that opportunity, and that's what we're going to be able to get on the floor with James Florence and Daniel Emerson. And E.J. Kushner was the second leading three-point shooter in the conference last year. And then we have Brendan Walker and B.J. Corley, another Atlanta young man that help us in every way possible. We have a lot of new players. They're going to add to the roster, but we're just excited about getting started. We hope you guys will come out and check us out and practice. Our schedule is going to be just as tough as it was last year, and Florida State is already close to being sold out. I'm sure it will be shortly, and we're hoping to sell 1,000 season tickets this year. That's something that hasn't happened in the past. So, I mean, really, that is where we stand right now. We got a lot of guys back, 85% of our offense. I told Coach Vitale earlier, we got 85% of our offense back, but I don't know if we have any of our defense back because Calvin Henry was a great shot blocker, and we are missing him as a senior. He's already got a contract overseas, and we need another player like him, and we're wishing the best for him. But right now, as we push forward and we start this weekend, we'll be looking forward to the November 5th date when we play our first exhibition and getting a chance to get those guys. Georgia College, you got us last year in the exhibition, so we hope to have a great outing that November 5th date right here in the University Center. Now, it's my great and distinct pleasure and honor to welcome to Mercer University not just a guy that is voice of college basketball, but just as he showed earlier today when he was visiting and talking to business people in Atlanta, how genuine a person he is and the passion he has for the game and for people. I mean, it is just a fantastic thing that we're elated to have Coach Vitale in our house for this night, and I know you guys won't be disappointed one bit. Coach Vitale, come on up and give us a few words. Thanks for being here.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm really in awe. First time I've seen the facility, I'm absolutely in awe for a school in terms of mid-major. It's a beautiful, beautiful facility. And if I really have heard all the validity today, sitting at my table prior to me speaking, from the president of the university, how good Mr. Florence is, how good Mr. Emerson is, I'm expecting big things when I check the papers out on Mercer. I mean, anybody could come in the first year. That's unbelievable. Beat Alabama and Auburn in a matter of a week. And then on my website, we made you the team of the week. But I also followed you when you're up 18 with 10 minutes to go and you let it slip against the Ramblin' Wreck at Georgia Tech. We won't talk about that. But no, he's done a great job. I mean, anytime I could appreciate what he's had to do here, and I'm not too familiar with what's happening in the women's program, except from what I've heard from people about the outstanding job Coach Jones has done. But I can tell you this, having coached the University of Detroit, I know what it's like when you're challenging and trying to get the big people to play you. Talking about when I was at Detroit, the Michigans, Michigan States, and trying to get notoriety and exposure because really you don't get the same golden opportunity. I think one time, I will never forget this. It was years ago. John Calipari was coaching at Massachusetts. And I did a whole thing on ESPN where I go off about my Rolls-Royce superstars of coaching and talking about this coach and that coach. And I run into Calipari, and he says to me, I am so disappointed in you. I am really, really upset with you. I said, that's cool. My wife gets upset with me too, and I love her. So, I mean, that's cool. Well, what's your beef? He said, Dick, you should know better than anybody because you were there. You were at Detroit. You know what your budget was, trying to compete with all the giants. So when you're seeing the guy's a Rolls-Roycer, it's not all an equal ball field. And how true that is. We talk about one coach over another coach. I know when I was at Detroit, the phone budget of Michigan was way more than what our whole total budget was. And I think sometimes we don't realize. That's why I say to you in a very serious manner and why we selected you as the team of the week, to go out and beat Alabama and Auburn. And I don't even know this, but I'll bet I'm accurate with it. I bet they both were on the road.
Yes, sir.
Oh, thank you. Both on the road. I mean, that's an unbelievable achievement. I don't care what level those teams are or how they're playing during the year, but those programs in the SEC, that's a major win for you. And I know he's ambitious with his schedule because I see already he's got the Providence Friars out of the Big East. Florida State is going to be very good this year from out of the ACC. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think you're playing Georgia Tech again. You're playing Alabama again. And it was somebody else on it. Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt's going to be very good as well. I got the big kid back. But I think that's the only way you can grow. I think whenever you're a program at the level where they're at, the key is, I was telling a fellow was interviewing me today from down in Atlanta, CBS affiliate. He said, what is the key for a program trying to make noise? The key to me is very simple. You got to win your tournament. You got to get exposure. You got to get the kind of visibility The one beauty of college basketball is the little guy. In football, it doesn't happen. There is no way in football that the little guy is going to get a chance to play for a national championships or get involved with the big guys. In college basketball, you get that one golden opportunity if you're fortunate enough to win your tournament. So that becomes almost your priority, is to go out and to win it. And now you got great news as well. It's here at home, so that's certainly a positive, but that's not an automatic. Not an automatic, because if anything, people are going to play at another level knowing they're away from home, and it means you got to be able to sustain that. What I'd like to do before I start, I want to introduce my better half. As I said when I was inducted into the Hall of Fame last year, I've been blessed in my life to be with Hall of Famers all my life. As I spoke today at the luncheon, my mother and father had a 5th grade education, but they had a doctorate of love, and they were Hall of Famers every day of my life. I miss them so much. My wife, Lorraine, without her, she's been the Hall of Fame of our family. I'm lucky that my 2 girls, Terry and Sherry, who intellectually and physically take after their mother. They went to Notre Dame. I couldn't get near the school, even though they said you had to have 1,400 SATs. I was upset with the university because I had 1,500. I took them 3 times, 500, 500, 500. But my Hall of Famer runs our family, is everything in my life. Without her, I have zilch. My beautiful bride of 38 years, my wife, Lorraine. Lorraine, stand up. Now, wait. Do I at least get a kiss tonight with all the beautiful stuff I said? Wow. You can tell, guys, I'm trying to make up. That's why I'm being flattering. Any questions at all? Anything about basketball? Anything about baseball? I love baseball. I can't believe the Cardinals and the Red Sox got knocked out in 3 straight.
Is there anything particularly you appreciate about the game kind of on this level, the mid-major? I mean, you obviously do all the big-time games, but when you come to a campus like this, is there anything that stands out about the game at the mid-major level?
Yeah, you know, I talked about it today in my speech. I may have probably mentioned it here today. I think, you know, a definition of an upset is very simple. An upset happens when a bunch of 3-star players, kids that are not on a scale of 5 being the best you can be. I remember using that always as my topic, my theme when I spoke to my team. One year we beat Michigan when they were nationally rated in 73. And my theme in the locker room before the game was, hey guys, we're a bunch of 3-star players. We're a bunch of 3 stars on a scale of 5. They got all the 5-star players. But you know what? Tonight, for 40 minutes, a 3-star can play like a 5 with intensity, emotion, passion, do all the little things. Doesn't take ability, as I said today, to dive for a loose ball. Doesn't take ability to make an extra pass for a better shot. And I said, when you have the 3 play like a 5, and the 5-star player, you know, he reads the paper, reads what you guys write and what you say and how great they are, and he decides to think he's cool, and he slides and glides, and he plays like a 3 for that night until 4 minutes are left on the clock, and then it's anybody's game. And that's how upsets happen. So what I appreciate when I see a Butler, I see a Gonzaga, I see a Davidson, I see those schools, in many cases, many of their players, maybe not so much today because they're getting such tradition and such recognition, but in many cases, you'll see players that were never ever recruited by the so-called blue chip superstar schools. I did a great story about that. I'm a sports lover. I think everybody associates me, basketball 24/7, but I'm an absolute sports fanatic. And I was checking with interest. South Florida played Florida State in football. The kid B.J. Daniels, their quarterback, had to step in as a freshman. He had to step in as a freshman because their superstar, Grothy, was out for the season. He's probably the best football player that ever played at South Florida. Well, that kid played with a little chip on his shoulder, extra motivation. He's from Tallahassee. They don't want him. They basically don't recruit him. He goes down there and he puts a show on basically, and they come out with a win. There is an athlete is a dangerous person when they play with that little chip on their shoulder, and they play at an especially high level, and they play as a team. So I appreciate I've always been a little underdog, you know. TV's made for the good-looking guys like you know, good-looking guys with hair. I'm bald, I'm ugly, I got one eye, got no ability, I talk a lot, so I got to make up. So I root for all the underdogs, but I've done fairly well for a guy with no ability, man. Just look at my wife, you know I overachieved. Can you imagine when I met her 30 years ago? Should I tell an embarrassing story about my competitiveness? True story. I walked into a club with a bunch of my buddies, coaches. We sit down, we used to, high school coaches going to share. You know, I grew up in an area, a lot of people don't know this, Bob. It's unbelievable, think about it. Mike Fratello goes on to coach in the NBA with the Hawks and all. U.B. Brown, Hawks right in the same county. We all Richie Adubato, all NBA guys. We're all from the same area. So anyway, I'm in a club with a bunch of guys, and all of a sudden it's fashionable, hot pants and white boots. Well, this redhead walks into this club, and all the guys go, oh my God, check her out. You know how guys are. And I said, guys, don't even think about it. That is mine. Well, I walked over. You want to talk about a lonely feeling? I walked over and I asked her to dance. She said, I'm sorry, I'm not dancing tonight. I had to walk back to about 12 guys at a table, laughing their heads off, putting me down. Finally, I said, watch this, I'm going again. 10 minutes later, I go again. I get shot down again. True story. Finally, they're ripping on me like crazy. Finally, to show you the competitor and recruiter I am, you would have hired me to recruit for you, Bob. Yeah. I said to the guy, I'll tell you what, I'm not a betting man. Put up some money right now. I said, I guarantee I get her on a dance floor. They said, oh, come on, I was joking around. So I go over there and I said, look, do me a favor. Just do me a favor. I said, I want nothing but a dance. I got to bet with all those guys. I'll even give you the money. Just dance with me. That's all I'm asking you. We danced and we're married 9 months later. And 38 years, she's still my best friend. And she's absolutely gorgeous, beautiful, and I love her dearly. Next question.
We've got about 3 or 4 minutes before Mr. Vitale has to go to us.
No, I got time for these guys. I'm not in a hurry.
How much was in the pot?
What's that?
How much was in the pot?
Oh, not much. She didn't get any. She got me. Go ahead. What else, guys?
What's the most memorable game you covered in your career?
My most memorable game, you know, people ask me that, and I've done so many great games over the years. I must have done, without exaggeration, ESPN started in 79. I got fired in the pros November 8th, 1979. They called me to do a game, and I said, I'll never forget my response. Fella called me, his name was Scotty Connell. He said, Dick, I heard you speak to your team. I was the producer for NBC when you played against Michigan, and they were number 1 in the country, and we played them in a round of 16, and we got beat in the last, minute, 80, I forgot the final score, it might have been 85, 81, something like that. But anyway, we got beat in the last minute. He said, I heard you speak to your team. He said, Kurt Gowdy did the game with John Wooden. I was in my awe that Coach Wooden was doing our game, regionally televised. And I remember speaking to my team because I wanted them to show respect to Coach Wooden, who was at practice. Little did I know that a guy was observing Pistons. So I'd just been named the head of a new network, ESPN. So I want you to do our very first game, DePaul in Wisconsin. I said, ESPN, true story. I said, ESPN? Sounds like a disease. What is ESPN? Never heard of this network. I said, plus, I have no interest in television. I don't know TV. I don't know anything about it. I'm a coach. I obviously made a major mistake going to the NBA. My personality wasn't cut out for the intensity of 100 games. I just, I'm so emotional, and so I belonged in college, and I wanted to get back to college in a worse way. About 2 weeks later, he called again. Finally, my wife convinced me. She said, all you're doing, this is a true story. I'm sitting home, and I'm not going to believe this. I felt sorry for myself, I was going up the ladder so quick. I was a 6th grade teacher in 71, coaching in high school. We were lucky to win a couple of state championships, and I got a chance to go to Rutgers as an assistant. From Rutgers, I went to the University of Detroit. So in a matter of 7 years, I went from the 6th grade to the NBA, which is unbelievable. Now all of a sudden you get fired. I'm depressed. I'm like, I was a boy of ball and dream, man, as my buddy used to say. And here it is, I get fired. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm sitting home. I'm feeling sorry. Nobody calls you, calling people up. Nobody calls you back. You find out, my wife used to always say to me, you think all these people are your friends. They're associates. Guys, you're getting tickets for the NBA games. I will never forget one thing in particular. This one guy used to come over all the time, and I'd give him autographed basketballs from Bob Lanier, McAdoo, for me. All of a sudden I get fired, and I go to church on Sunday, and I go to church, and after church they have a gathering like this for, like coffee and donuts. And the guy don't even come over to say hello. Finally, I said to my wife, I said, watch this, the following. I walked over and I simply said, hi, my name is Dick Vitale. I used to coach the Detroit Pistons. It's unbelievable. You learn a lot about yourself as a person. I wouldn't wish it on anybody, but getting fired probably was the best thing. Anyway, I was watching Luke and Laura. I got tired of watching the soap operas. My wife throwing me out of the house. I went and I did that game. Changed my life. Had I not gotten hired by ESPN, I'm not standing in front of you today. I would be dead by 50. I might change my whole priorities. Being in condition, not eating 12, 1 o'clock at night, nervous about a game. You're eating at late hours. People have no idea that my priorities change. Home with my family, vacations. I would never go on a vacation because I'd always have fear that my competition was getting an edge. It really absorbs you 24/7. It did me. I don't know about 24/7. Everything was centered on recruiting or what's happening with your program. So the best thing, go to ESPN. 30 years later, still there. I may be wrong. My boss told me I had a lifetime contract, but I think legally I got 5 more years on my contract. I don't know what's going to happen. I'm 70 years old. 70 years old, and I act about 12, and I hope that never, ever changes. I had a bunch of people yesterday. I was at the Bahamas, the Atlantis, with all my grandkids, and that's my life now. I got 5 of them between the ages of 4 and 8, and I'm playing basketball in the lobby of the hotel, dribbling. We're going between our legs. We're running dribbling drills, and the people at the hotel are going bananas. They're laughing. They're taking pictures. Dickie V, with your grandkids. It keeps me young. I'll probably, I get choked up a little bit. I'll be so crushed, and I know it's going to happen the day that I have to simply say, Dick, it's over, man. It's over. I saw Ernie Harwell. My heart, I grew up, I coached in Detroit and I lived there for a lot of years, and I had so much admiration and respect for the play-by-play Ernie Harwell for years, the voice. I don't know if you guys, but a voice of the Tigers, but read where he has a terminal disease. He's 90, and oh my God, he's such a beautiful man. And I saw where he spoke to the crowd in Tiger Stadium, or it's now called Comerica Park. But I just look at that, and I know you can't stop the clock. The clock just keeps running. People keep telling me, I'm at a stage of my life now, you look good. You guys don't want it. That stage is unbelievable. Hey, man, you look really good. I mean, they're telling you, you're old, man, it's over. But I try to do the right things. I don't know how long I'm going to keep going. I've had several surgeries on my throat, as you probably all know about. But God's been good to me, been very good to me. I only wish I could be half as good back. And that's my goal now. My goal now in my life is giving back. There's nothing that excites me more than my Dick Vitale Gala, where we have raised every year a minimum of $1 million plus in one night for cancer research. This year we're going to honor Tony Dungy, Tom Izzo. I'd appreciate any publicity on it. Anyone that can't come can help us. It's $1 million going to go toward pediatric cancer. Between our fundraising and the event where we charge $1,000 a night, sell it out, 750 people in Florida. We bring in over 50, 60 celebrities, from Pat Riley to John Gruden to Tino Martinez to Freddie McGriff to John Calipari to Patino, Donovan. It's like a who's who. And they all come free of charge. They all, in many cases, write a check to us. They all pay their own expenses, and it's all for the V Foundation. To me, I shared with them today, Last week I spoke at a national convention. When I went in to speak at a national convention, a lumber convention over in Boston, my wife was there, and the general attitude among the lobby was how tough the economy is, how tough the industry is. Housing, houses not going up, obviously you can't sell lumber. So I kept hearing that. In the meantime, that day I was on the phone on a regular basis with a dad. His name is Sergio Negrin. I was on the phone with Sergio about his little son, his son Anthony. Anthony was a basketball player, a violinist, just a terrific young man, terrific. Lives in my neighborhood where I live, down in Sarasota, Bradenton, Florida. He's had cancer now for probably the last 4 or 5 years. He's had 3 bone marrow transplants, battling and battling. The father wanted to share with me an incredible story. He said, Dick, you know how tough Anthony is? They've told Anthony, just be comfortable, Anthony. Hospice is going to take care of you. Well, the kid knows, he's 18, 19. That hospice means that it's really basically just going to keep you comfortable until the finish. He told hospice, I don't want you in the house. I'm going to beat this. I'm going to fight it. So I was on the phone with him right before I spoke. I was on the phone and said, Anthony, you're an amazing young man. Just listen to your doctors, listen to your people and talk. Well, we got a phone call. It's getting ready to fly out this past week to go to the Bahamas, and the phone rang, and the father called me about 9:30, I believe it was on Tuesday, and he said, Anthony just passed about an hour ago, and I wanted to share it with you, and he's just with some special kid. And I thought about that, and I told the people when I spoke, economy. The economy comes and goes. If you got great work ethic, and you got a sense of pride about yourself, you go out, you find a way to survive. It's tough, there's no question, it's tough. I mean, I don't have to face that toughness, so I don't know like the average person and some of the things they have to deal with. But the one great thing, if you got your health, in the case of Sergio now, the dad and the mom, they're not going to get a chance any longer to be able, in the case of Anthony. And the other dilemma is his brother has the same gene, but it has not been activated. And think about those are problems. Those are situations that are tough to deal with. Not winning or losing a game. I mean, that's one part, but that's my greatest thrill now is in the last chapter of my life. I want to give back because so many people took a guy like me, a junior high coach, a teacher, a guy with no pedigree. I didn't come from the superstar programs. I didn't come from being a great player, and I don't resent that. I wish I could have been a great name as a player, and the door opens immediately. Guy gets fired today. I mean, Brett Favre tomorrow, the day he says bye-bye to football, do you think he's got a job in TV? You better believe it. You think he's got credibility? You better believe it. And I think the world, I mean, God bless him for having that. I'm just using him as an example. But the point I'm trying to make, a guy like myself, I've had to battle some of you guys, the critics, talk a lot. Bottom line is, that's me. And I think the people in Detroit, the media, was great when I would meet those guys and say, Dick, you're exactly what really hurt me one time. I had some writers hurt me, can't be real, that can't be genuine. And I'd laugh about it, and the guys in Detroit would say, they have no clue, Dick, because you were this way before you ever went in front of a camera, probably even more so. Michael Howard, you were there when I spoke in Detroit at the Final Four. That's where I met Bob. Bob was there. I spoke to all the students and all the athletes. They brought me in to speak, and I did. And this writer who covered me for years ago and had just retired, I said, what are you doing here? He said, when I read that you were coming to speak, he said, I had to be here. He said, I just want to tell you. He said, you are exactly what you were when I covered you 30 years ago. He said, so I used to take my pad out, tell people story after story. I couldn't keep up with you, man. But, I've had a great run. It's been a lot of fun. And I don't know, like I said, I hope it continues because I've been a very blessed guy.
All of you are invited to attend when Mr. Vitale speaks tonight at 7, if you'd like to attend that as well. But he has another reception that folks are anxiously awaiting him.
Give him 5, because I talk so much here. Give him a couple of minutes, and I'll be quick with my answers. Go ahead, I'm sorry. It's my fault, really, not theirs. No, they came out, they deserve that. Go ahead.
Where have you not been that you want to do a game at? Is there any place that you've just seen and you've not been at?
I hear you.
Any arena, any place that you've not covered a game at that you'd like to go?
That's a great question. I tell my bosses all the time. I said, please let me go to some places that are new, unique. It's so much fun. Last year I went to Davidson for the very first time. They allowed me to go to Davidson. You know, I happen to work in a situation where everything is based on ratings. And I've been in a scenario where, you know, because of my contract, they put me on games like Duke and Carolina all the time. And I love those games, don't get me wrong. But there are so many other universities. I mean, obviously, I just looked at my schedule the other day for the upcoming year, and I'm certainly not going to complain. It's a basketball junkie's delight. I mean, Kansas, Kentucky and Connecticut, Duke and Carolina twice. But I went to Davidson, I had a blast. I did a Butler game once, was great against Notre Dame. I would love to do games. Maybe they'll send me down here for the championship. The Atlantic Sun, wow. Dickie V comes in. Hey, I know all about the combo already when you talk about your guy, Florence and Emerson, a rebounding whiz. So I know a little bit about the team already. You just got to get to the final.
Yeah. Appreciate it.
But there's so many of the mid-major places or schools that I haven't been to that I would love to go. But it's people think I just pick my games. I have bosses, and those bosses delegate where I go. Sometimes we even have battles that a lot of people aren't. I'll never forget this one. You get a kick of this one. I get a call. They said, we want you to do high school game. I said, what high school game? LeBron James. I said, come on now, we're going to make this kid into something that really is a high school kid. They said, not only are you going to do the game, but before you say no, you're going to do it with Bill Walton. I said, Bill Walton and I are going to do a game together. I said, we're going to make this kid, when we walk into that arena, like the biggest thing that ever played the game. So I'm a team player. I've been a team player. I do whatever my bosses tell me, and they've been great to me. So I went and I did the game. I tell my partner before the game, I'm talking to Bill and I'm talking to my partner, Dan Schulman, who's terrific, by the way. I said, Dan, this kid can't be half as good as what they say. There's no way. I mean, the adjectives I was getting in preparing for the game were scary. I mean, I thought I was seeing a combination Jordan and Magic. And so anyway, the game starts. Playing against Oak Hill. Oak Hill must have had 4 or 5 Division I big-time players. The guard that went to Connecticut, Williams, they had a big-time team. In about 4 or 5 minutes, they looked like a team that didn't belong on the floor. This guy is posting up, dunking, going the length of the court, driving, doing. I turned around on TV, and I got a little criticism from some of the media. I turned to Walton, I said, Bill, I came here, and I wonder if this kid was half as good as they said. This is a rarity, man. So this kid is better than advertised, better than what anybody could possibly say. And I tell you, it was such a thrill. And then after the game, he gave me a thrill. After the game, I'm getting ready to get in the car, go to the airport, and fly out that night after the game. And one of your coaches comes running over and says, before you leave, LeBron wants to talk to you. So I said, okay. And I said, but I'm got to get going to the airport. So anyway, I wait, and he comes running out, and he throws his arms around me, and he says, I want you to know, man, I was so excited to knowing what you thought about me, about your PTP. You know, my terms, it blows my mind. I mean, I can't go a day without hearing, get a T.O., baby, he's awesome, baby. Am I a PTP? And I just did a lot of that for fun when I got into television. But I said, LeBron, you are even better. It's the greatest compliment I could give you. You're even better than what I expected. And I said, I'm going to tell you this. Make sure you make good decisions. Life is very simple. Make good decisions. A lot of good things will happen. I'm so proud to see the way this kid, not that I played any role in any shape or form in his life, because I haven't, but in today's day and age, if there's a part that bothers me so much, seeing athletes who forget where they came from, forget about how they climbed to get to the top of the mountain, and then they have an attitude, can't talk to the media, can't talk to this, we gotta go to my entourage, gotta go. I mean, are you kidding me? I wouldn't waste 2 minutes on an athlete. He pulled that on me, ever. There's no athlete, no entertainer, nobody out there worth that. And yet we go out and want to kiss their butts, and I don't understand it. You give me the Derek Jeters. Give me Derek Jeters of the world. Give me the Tim Duncans, the David Robinsons, the LeBron James. Give me the Magic Johnsons. Give me the guys play the game with a smile, not a chip on their shoulder, and are so thankful and blessed and so honored. I said in my induction speech when I was in the Hall of Fame, and Magic Johnson was laughing, sitting in the front, and you can get the speech, by the way, is on my website, as is, if you want to find out more about the gala and raising money or honoring Tony Dungy, just go to, if you could tell the people, to dickvitaleonline.com, and they could get all their information. But as I sped at the speech, I'm looking at Magic and Magic. There's one thing that bothers me. I said, we are some pro athletes complain about how tough it is. My father worked in a factory, pressed coats, was a security guard at night till 12 midnight. My mother sewed coats down our cellar till she had a stroke. And I got to hear about some 23-year-old, 25-year-old telling me how tough it is. I said, Magic, last time I looked, you tell your buddies, they play 81 games, man, or 82 games, and I give them the benefit of the playoffs. I looked at the calendar, something tells me the calendar has 365 days. Something tells me that when they travel, all this travel, they travel by charter, man. First class suites. They never worry about, you think they stand in line like you do to get a key to the room? Give me a break. And then if they can't play, you're gonna make $1 million a year. If you can play, you're gonna make $4 or $5 million. If you're a little special, you'll make 8 to 10. And if you're really super, you'll make 20 million. Are you kidding me? And you're gonna complain and bitch and moan about that lifestyle? Give me a break. Embrace it. That's why I love watching Derek Jeter. I would coach a Derek Jeter or a Magic any day of my life. These people enjoy it. The sharer, watch him play first base. You see it with a smile, an enjoyment, a passion, a feeling. And that's what I love about people that are athletes. But my God, there's some out there, man, I don't know. No time to sign an autograph for a kid. Had no time to, I mean, are you kidding me? I can't root for it. Don't get me going on this. I will never stop. I better get a T.O., baby. He is dying. He is dying to throw me out of here. So, one last question and I'm out of here. One last. Go ahead. No more, so we're out of here. T.O., baby. Thanks a lot, guys.